Good day, everyone, and welcome to our online class. So, our topic for today is obviously a continuation of what I have discussed about the graph theory, or an introduction to the graph theory. Before we go to our main course, let me just give you a scenario. So, since online selling um, is a cup of tea of every business minded people, or most of the business minded people, they do online selling because ito yung pinakapatok sa loob ng bansa. We have Lazada, we have um, Shopee, and whatever have you. So assuming ikaw ay nagtatrabaho sa ano ba yung mga career na meron sila, like for example Ninja Van, and then Ninja Van Ninja Van, and then ano ba, um, LBC. Ayan, yung mga example na meron po tayo na mga carrier po ng ating mga produkto. 'Di ba? Or kung hindi man kayo nagde-deliver, at least you have the idea na meron tayong mga deliverer. So, assuming ikaw ay delivery boy from a certain company that deliver the goods to each and every of the houses na in order, 'di ba? Na kailangan mong kuwanan or kailangan mong pagdeliveran. So, assuming that you are in a house A, okay? You are in a house A. How is it possible that you can cover up every houses that you have here? You have house B, house C, house D, house O, house M, house J, house I. So, these are all houses. So, nakita mo, and then sinabi sa iyo ng inyong manager that you have to deliver this to a certain area. Sabihin natin sa Makati. Okay? And then sa Makati, ito yung mga pagbibigyan mo. Okay? Company A, Company B, Company C, Company D, and all this stuff. So, the geographical location that you have here is you have here A and then B, C. So, medyo madali lang po yung ating location framework. Hindi po siya ganun kahirap tingnan. But in actuality, that's not how you make, that's not how the companies are, are set up, or are positioned, or something like that. All right. So how is it possible that from A you can touch every vertices, or every houses, or every company that you will be delivering? Okay, so ito po siya. Paano na ikaw from A, mga kabalikan kay A, without revisiting or without the repetition of the same company? So for example, from company A, you go to company B. Okay, so from company B, you go to company C. From company C, you go to company D. Company D to company F. And then you cannot go back from F to D, and then from D to C, and then from C to E, from E to F. I tell you honestly, para sa mga nagde-deliver po ay very hassle po sa part nila yon. And that's why they are creating ng magandang solution, and the application of the graph theory is this, kung paano natin siya ma-apply in actuality and in real life. So, sa mga nagpaplano, mag-delivery boy ng mga kung ano man, ng LBC or kung ano man, ito ay isa sa mga pinakamadaling paraan para kayo ay makapag-deliver. You have to check on the map and the location where you will bring the goods, or kung ano man yung ipapadeliver sa inyo. And then from that, you create ways on how will you be touching all of those houses, or kung ano man, locations, nang hindi umuulit. Kasi kapag umulit yan, that will be really hassle on their end, and at the same time, nakakapagod yun, no? So from A to B, then from B to C, from D to E, and then you go back again to A, and then from A you go to I, from I you go to J, from J you go to L. That's gonna be tiring. So if you're gonna follow the direction from A to B, B to C, C to D, F, P, O, M, G, E, H, K, M, L, J, I. So if you have any possible ways on how will you be touching everything without revisiting the same location, just comment that down below para makita natin, and we can have a very good session. And if you have any question, just put everything down at masasagot natin yung mga tanong na yan ninyo. Okay, so ayun na po siya, and with that I sum up, and I open up to you the topic that we will be dealing with for today, and that is what we call a Hamiltonian graph. Now, under a Hamiltonian graph, there is what we call a Hamiltonian path and a Hamiltonian cycle. Okay, so we'll be starting now. So Hamiltonian path. What is a Hamilton path? A Hamilton path is an undirected or directed graph. A Hamiltonian path is a path that visits each vertex once. So balik tayo dun sa definition na meron tayo sa path. When we say path, path is a walk. So a walk, ano ibig sabihin ng walk? Yung parang kang naglalakad nang wala ka pakialam kung ikaw ba ay uulit ng direksyon or hindi. Pero ang path ay isang walk, pero ang path ay isang special type ng walk because when a walk does not revisit the same vertex again, and that is what we call a path. So again, recall lang natin, kapag sinabing path, hindi dapat umuulit yung vertex. Okay? So hindi rin ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating path, ang ibig sabihin, kailangan kung nagsimula ka sa bahay, dapat you end up sa bahay. Hindi. When we say path, it's just stated there that there is a walk that the vertices are not repeated. So path yun. Now, punta tayo dun sa more specific na type ng path. Kapag ang isang path ay nagamit mo lahat ng vertices nang hindi na ulit, obviously hindi na ulit kasi nga path, ang tawag doon ay Hamiltonian path. Alright? Hamiltonian path. So, kung titingnan natin dito sa graph natin sa kanan, makakabuo ba tayo ng isang path from A going to E? So, tingnan muna natin ha. So, from A, let's try to go from A, let's go to C, okay? From A to C. And then from C, let's try to go to G, okay? And from G, let's try to go to D. And then from D, let's try to go to B. And then from B, let's try to go to E. Is this an example of Hamiltonian path? Obviously, no. This is just a plain path. Okay? Why is it that this is just a plain path? Because you were not able to use the vertex F. If you were able to use the vertex F, then that is the time that is considered as a Hamiltonian path. But in the case, the walk that you chose is not an example of Hamiltonian path. That is just a plain path. Alright, so let's try to regroup and let's try to rechange or reroute it again, no? Tingnan natin. So, assume ito na po yung bahay. Ito yung lokasyon ang pagbibigyan nyo. Itong mga bahay na to, pupuntahan nyo. So, may mga iba't ibang daan kung paano pumunta. Hindi ibig sabihin kailangan mong madaan ang lahat ng mga daan. No. When we talk about path, we only care about the vertices. Okay? So, from A, how is it possible that from vertex A, you can go to vertex E, following what we call a Hamiltonian path. Okay? Following what we call a Hamiltonian path. So, how about reroute it? So, instead of from A going to C, how about from A you go to vertex B, and then from B you go to vertex D. Okay? And then from D you go to vertex C, and then from C you go to vertex G, and from G you go to vertex F, okay, and then from F you go to vertex E. So if you're gonna put that down dito, so ano yung klase ng walk na meron po tayo? So again, sabi ko sa inyo, kapag nagsulat kayo ng walk, you can directly put the vertices. Okay, so you have from A, B, D, C, G, F, and E. Pero sa scenario kasi natin na ganito, this is a multigraph. So, kung multigraph, so may multiple edge tayo dito. So, we have to consider kung ano yung daan na ginamit natin. Was it be the E6 or the E7? So, instead of writing the vertices, why not include the edges as well? But there's no wrong thing when you write it, all the vertices as part of your walk. Yun yung walk mo, okay na yun. Pero kapag may mga edges, let's consider the edges. So, from A to E, so you can take vertex A, okay? And then you go with E2, okay? And then B, and then from B to E5, and then from E5 to D, and then from D, so we instead of using E6, we are using E7, and then from E7 to C, and then from C to E8, and then from E8 to G, from G to E12. Okay, from E12 to F, and then from F you have E11, and then from E11 you have already touched on visit the vertex E. So kung mag-deliver kayo ng goods sa ganyang klase ng geographical location, that is the best way for you to deliver the goods without touching or revisiting the same location or the same vertex. So if you want to pause it right now for you to check if there are any possible ways that you can still do, of course, from A to B, from B to D, from D to C, okay lang yun. But the answer you will be using instead of E7 is E6. That will be fine. We don't have any questions regarding that, so long as you have followed. Question: what if from G you go with E9 and then D? That cannot be possible. Again, the definition of the path is the vertex should not be repeated. So if you have G and then you go from G to D, since it has already been touched from B to D, it cannot be, because that is not a path anymore. That is just a plain walk. Plain walk na lang po siya. So you go here and then you have it here. Is there any possible ways na we can use? Meron pa ba? So ito, dito tayo kanina, diba? Pag ganun, and then pag ganun, and then let's try from A to C, from C to D, from D to B, from B to E. Cannot be. Kasi from E to F, tapos pag ganun, tapos pabalik dito, cannot be kasi ginamit mo na naman ito baka ka makarating dito. So hindi po siya possible. Alright? So pwede pa maghanap. For example, from C to E, may possible kaya? You just pause it, and then you try to do it. Get your notebooks with you and your scratch papers with you, and then you try from C to E, from G to B. One thing, dapat lahat ng vertices ay magagamit at hindi dapat siya umulit. Now, there is a special type of what we call Hamilton cycle. A cycle, to recall, is a path. Isa rin siyang klase ng path, pero if you start from vertex A, you have to end up with vertex A. Alright? If you have vertex A, you have to end up with vertex A. Question: from this given example, punta tayo. So, ang definition ng Hamilton cycle, isa siyang Hamilton path, pero dapat cycle siya. Meaning to say, if you start up with vertex A, you have to end up with the same vertex. Question: pwede ba nating itiretso ito? Okay? So, sabi natin, we have A to E2, and then from E2 to B, and then from B to E5, and from 5 to D, from D, gawin na lang si E6, and then from E6 to C, from C to E8, from E8 to G, to E12, to F, to E11, to E. And this is an example of Hamiltonian path. Now, what is an example of Hamiltonian cycle? From E, of course, you go with E, with edge E3, okay? And then from E3, you go with A. So you start and you end up with the same vertex, and all of the vertices are used. And vertices are not repeated except for the initial and for the final or terminal vertex. Okay lang po yung wala tayong problema doon, because that is an example of a path or a cycle. Sorry, that is an example of a cycle. Okay, so again, A, E2. So continue from here, you go with E3, and then you go with A. Meron pa kayang possible way? You cannot go with this direction. Obviously, you cannot, because if you did, you will be touching or you're visiting vertex B, and that is not possible. Alright? Wala po tayong problema kung maulit ang edges, so long as the vertex is not repeated, and that is a good example of what we call a cycle. Alright? So, balik tayo sa definition, main definition. What's again a Hamilton path? Hamilton path is a path where all of the vertices in that given graph is used without any repetition. Now, a special type or a special case of a path, when you start from your initial and then you end up, or your terminal or your final destination is still the same point where you started, and that is what we call a cycle. Okay? So, iwan ko na sa inyo to. So, I have it here, a graph. Meron akong graph. So, ito I have V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 hanggang V7. And I also have edges. I have edge 1, edge A, edge B, edge C, edge D. Hindi po yung edge sheeran, ha? Edge hanggang edge B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, G. H hanggang H lang po yung meron po tayo na edge. So my question is, question number 1. Can you make a path, a Hamiltonian path, to be exact? A Hamiltonian path to be exact that goes from tingnan natin ha. Wait lang, assess ko lang muna. Is there any possible ways that you can have a Hamiltonian path from V2 to V, kita ba ba? Yan, from V2 to V7. Construct a Hamiltonian path. So, I'll give you time. You pause the video. So, pause nyo na ngayon, ha? Okay, thank you. And then, so assume na pause nyo na, tapos titingnan nyo na ngayon. Meron bang possible ways? From V2 going to V7, titingnan ho natin yan. May possibilities ba na tayo ay magkaroon ng Hamiltonian path from V2 to V7? So, tingnan natin yung ganitong daan, ha? So, from V2, take a route going to V3. So, from V3 to V6, from V6 to V5, from V5 you're back to V2. No, that's not a path. That's not a path. A Hamiltonian path to be exact. No, that's not. That's not a good route. So we have to do rerouting, no? We have to do rerouting. What do you think is the best or kung maayos? So kung dumaan na tayo kay V3, so wag tayo dadaan kay V3. We try to check it on V1, and then from V1 you have V4, and then from V4 you have V6, and then from V6, from V6 to V5, and then from wala pala. There's no way pala para makapagawa tayo ng Hamiltonian path, kasi from V2 to V1, from V1 to V4 to V6 to V5, and then you're back again with V2. So instead of that, instead of the direction going from V2 to V7, why not we have, why not change it? Why not, let's try to have, saan ba yung nahanap ko? Wait lang, ha? Ay, ako. Why not, instead of going from V2 to V7, why not we have V5 to V7? Will there be any possible ways that we can go from V5 to V7? So we can say that from V2 to V7, there is no Hamiltonian path na mabubuo po tayo. Okay? So let's try to do a rerouting. No, we have to start from V5 and we have to end up with V7. Would it be possible? Would it be possible? Tingnan po natin. So from V5, you go with V2. And then from V2, you go with V1. Okay? From V1 to V4. and then from V4 to V6, and then from V6, of course, you have not yet used V3, and from V3, wala na po tayong pwedeng puntahan. So, obviously, mali yung ating route. So, we have to do a rerouting, okay? So, how about we go from V5 to V6, V6 to V3, to V2, to V1, to V4, and to V7. Voila, you already have a direction or a walk that is considered as a Hamiltonian path. So I'm gonna write it. So V5 to V6, V6 to V3, V3 to V2, V2 to V1. Okay. So from V1 to V4, and then from V4 again, you are now with V7, where all of the vertices used. Yes, were there any repetition of the vertices? Wala po. So therefore, that is considered as a Hamiltonian path. So I hope na kayo po ay lagyan muna natin. So from V5, you take edge G, okay? V6, H, V6, H, and then, anong sunod? V6, H, and then V3, you take I, and then V2, and then you take A, and then V1, and then E, and then V4, and then you have D, and voila, V7. So kung kayo ay magdi-deliver sa ganyang klase ng lugar at nakita nyo yung scenario na ganyan yung mapa na meron tayo, ay there you have it. But you just have to make sure na may daan. Kasi halimbawa pumunta kayo sa isang lugar tapos wala naman palang daan, no, hindi nyo nagamit yung natutunan natin sa Hamilton path. Like for example, sa V7, no, dead end na pala yan. Wala na pala kayong madadaanan from V7 going to V3. Wala pa kayong mapupunta na ganyan. You just have to make sure na doon sa mapa ng tingin nyo ay dapat meron kayong assurance na may dadaanan kayo na lugar dyan, may dadaanan kayo na edge from vertex going to another vertex. And then from there on, give you tip number 1, you check your map, okay? You check your map kung ano yung klase ng location meron, di ba? Pangalawa, ano pa yan? Pangalawa, tingnan nyo kung nasaan yung pupuntahan nyo. Hanapin nyo yung mga lugar na pupuntahan ninyo. So for example, ito yung mapa natin. Okay? So may mga lugar pa dyan, may mga lugar pa dyan, may mga lugar pa dyan, no? Pero hindi mo naman sila kailangan puntahan because they are not part of the vertices that you have to be visited, no? Ano yung magandang paraan? Pampagulo lang yung mga yan. So ito yung may mga daan pa dito, meron pa dito. Pero ang kailangan mo lang ay nandito. So locate, ito kailangan ko to, kailangan ko to, kailangan ko to, kailangan ko to siya, kailangan ko siya. Hindi, iba pala yun. So ayan, kailangan ko po yung mga yan. Tapos ang gagawin natin ay from there, mag-isip na ngayon kayo. Kung kapag kay D1 wala kayong nagawang paraan, no, para magawa yun, then why not try it with V4, okay? Pag sa V4 wala kayong nakuha ang Hamiltonian path, why not? Why not try it with another vertex, no? Para makita nyo lang. Pero kung sa scenario nyo halimbawa,